Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadananda Tirtha Bhagavatpadacharya Namo Namah Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyati Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibuddha Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparita Madiprabhudan Vadan Nirasya Kritavan Bhuvitatvavadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Anandatirthamunivayam Namami Pujjaya Raghavendraya Satya Dharma Rataya Cha Pajatam Kalpavrikshaya Namatam Kamadhenuvem Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahehi Tejasvina Vadidamastu Ma Vishvidavahehi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome friends, we are into the second Valli. We are going to, because second Valli has got three parts. The first part is about telling the two great aspects, a person can encounter in this world and you can choose to become one. The choosing is not in your hands, because it's that is what we have seen, the Shreyas and Prayas. Though we have seen the great quality of being a Shreyas. Shreyas is a very, very great word. I don't think there is any equivalent word in any other language. That is, you have transcended everything under the highest possible human evolution. That is called Shreyas. So that Shreyas, because when it has been said, because it's difficult for anyone, it is a journey. So basically what we have to do is, while the destination is there, it is not, we will have to reach the destination, but how far we are able to reach the destination is going to be our own effort and our own what we are going to gain in this birth. But in the meanwhile, we will have to enjoy the journey. So if you see the entire, our Sanatana Dharma or all our scriptures, what it says is, when we say, because when you have to attain the highest possible, it is always a journey. You cannot have this is the end point. There is no plenitude of final evolution. Whatever when we say bliss or your realization and all, it is something much beyond what we can think of. Just to bring a small point of Keno Upanishad we have seen and all. Keno Upanishad gives 2 points. One is all your senses, whatever they are doing on their own, and they are not always in the control. So when you know something is not undesired, even then the sense takes you there. When something is desired, something sense doesn't take you there. Sometimes it refuses to take you there. I think which we may not be consciously be working, rather aware of it. It happens. Suppose you want to do a particular important thing, but you leave it and you just go for something else. You got something which where you can have a pleasurable thing. You can interact with people, or you go for a movie, or you go for some concert, or you got something else which where you can spend the time. Look, I have spent I have spent and I have broken my head for a long time. So I don't have to work on that, let me take it. When it takes, it takes you there. But certainly it's good for you. But then at that point of time, you may be missing something different. So the priority, how you are going to assign the priority, that comes into being. That assigning the priority, basically it's a discrimination. That is where prayers, shreyas and all come. When something important is there, because you just can't, leave it, to something, which is not so important immediately. It may be important at some point of time and all. It's basically to identifying the priorities. That's what it is happening. So when we are going towards the journey, how this journey, because we are going to encounter and how we are going to identify, because the shreyas and prayers are, it's the prayers is not, it's not bad at all, because just to emphasize, prayers is, we are living in this world, we have to encounter everything. At that point of time, if you have to encounter, we will have to see, and what is it we will have to understand, then, we will have to go to the next thing. So otherwise what happens, you are being stuck onto that. Once you get the indulgence, you are being stuck onto that. You are being denied on further experience, you may be getting it and all. If for instance, if you are going to live for 100 years, because how many days? 36,500 days you are going to live. In 36,500 days, because 1/3, we are going to minimum. It could be more also. 1/3 we will be spending in sleep. Maybe 10,000 odd days, we will be sleeping. And then rest of it, because a lot of things in our own, the habits, which takes us away from our own, the course of developing ourselves, that will almost take another one fourth of it. Likewise, when you see finally what is left for you to development is very, very little. So during that point of time, when you have to do, you will have to work on yourself to find a place. It's not that deliberately, you don't have to go out of the way and do, I'm going to renounce everything. Tomorrow I am not going to participate. It's not at all required. You be what you are. You be where you are. You do whatever has been assigned to you. The whatever way you have to deal with the people, you do it. But in the meanwhile, you be aware of it. It is like a shruti in a concert. See, you may be appreciating the person's song, because how he did it and all, but he needs the basic, that the divine energy that is coming through the Shruti. Unless he is able to align with himself the Shruti, the entire concert he could not have done, because the Shruti is there continuously. Likewise, the intuition is there always trying to tell you, what is to be done, what is the priority and all. That is always there. That is God's voice. The God's voice is always there through our experiences and all. But in the noise of the senses, which takes us to various places and various interests and various priorities we have, we are not able to hear it. Whenever we are able to hear, even for a moment, that is something. Once you have few moments, once you start cherishing those moments, you will find that is the wonderful moment. I will just try to narrate, one small instance in the life of Ramana Maharishi. He was he was born in a place called Tiruchuli. Tiruchuli is a place near Madurai. It's a very small place. It used to be in the district of Ramnad. Now it is, so many districts have been formed. It is one of the districts close by. It's like Sivagangai or somewhere else, it is there. It's not very far from Madurai. So he came to his uncle's place in Madurai. The Madurai, there is still, the place where his uncle's house was there. Is being, it's there, and the people go there, and there is a Ramana Maharishi, because that meditation and all takes place in a small way. It's as usual, the great people's, all the memorabilia is never developed in this country. It is like that. If you go and see Kumbakonam, Ramanujam's house look as it was. Not a stone has been added to that. Only there is a plaque. The person has come and inaugurated that, in memory of Ramanujan. It's like that. So when he was just in the teens, Ramana Maharishi, his original name was Venkatraman. So when he was staying in his uncle's house, he was staying in the first floor of that house. In those days, it was individual houses, because not now, because now a lot of flats have come and all. So when he was staying there, one day he felt suddenly, when he was not having any problem. His health was okay, was perfectly healthy, and he was having a robust health, and his physique was good. He was also a sort of reasonably doing exercises and other things, and nothing, no problem whatsoever. But suddenly he had a feeling, suppose, if suddenly if I have to do some, because he was thinking, it may be possible that he may be dying anytime. See, that is true for any human being, because at that point of time he was just thinking about, because the death is a word, because which is, it is stigmatized, because people don't want to talk it. Why do you want to talk it? Because you are going to live. That is, of course, to take you, into the life and get yourself up and down. But he didn't share it with anyone. He was only having it. So, but when he was sleeping, he was not having any fear or anything like that. But he was telling, something is likely to happen. Then he was thinking about that too much on that. Then he said, even if it happens, what happens, this body will go off. And then he was imagining, the body will be taken and anything, finally, it has to be consigned, it will all be consigned. That's all, what else is good to. So as he was thinking, he didn't have any sort of consciousness of this world and all. He was getting into his own, and he was feeling very happy about it. See, once you, normally children are in the teenage, in the early teenage, the people will be literally get, they will have all the fear, they will cry out, and he didn't do anything. He was enjoying that, and he was having it. Then he has understood. Then only, he got sort of a spontaneous realization, we should say. It does not come just like that. It must have been the grace of so many births. It must have taken place earlier. It's called Sadhyo Mukti. Sadhyo Mukti in the sense spontaneous realization. You don't have to have Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana. You don't have to Guru. He was having a Guru, in the sense Manasika Guru. He was trying to go through the scriptures, trying to understand, talking to people and all, but he was keeping it himself. He was more silent. He's called the silent saint. Ramana Maharishi is called silent saint. When Somerset Maugham came to meet him, there was no discussion whatsoever, no verbal interaction between the two. But Somerset Maugham stayed there for more than 3 hours. And after that, Somerset Maugham declared, I have never had such a beautiful conversation ever in my life. That means it's the pure vibration that was passing between these people. What is teleporting, what we are calling it, the pure intuition that is sending the messages between the master as well as Somerset Maugham. That's how it has taken place. So when it takes place, because that is the highest level of evolution in the sense, because you are not aware of anything what is happening around the world. So when you are silently interacting, they were not bothering about when someone is making a noise there, or someone is making tea, or some people are coming and going. A lot of people will be howling, because being our India being what it is, because without noise, we can't live anywhere. So many things may be happening, but you are oblivious of that. You just are not aware of that. That happens sometimes. So if you go to some places, because we all have some experience sometimes, if you go to Vivekananda Rock, Kanyakumari, because when it is not too crowded, you go there to that place, you just find, because nothing but it's an open sea. And that now, of course, they have built a structure around that breeze that comes past just like that. It just caresses you and goes off, because that is a wonderful feeling, and you don't remember anything, or you don't try to remember anything at all, because you are into the mindfulness of that particular moment. That is a wonderful moment. This same thing, you may be feeling, when you are having a darshan in Tirupati, because even that half a second, before you are being pushed off with a jargandi, still, because that one moment, that what you are having, that is the wonderful moment, because that you savor it. Why do you go to Tirupati again and again? Just finally you are going to get that half a second. Whatever ticket you are going to get, maybe, you may be there for a little more time, nothing than that. Because why we are doing that? That is the point. You are taken away, and you are being your own source, where you get in the 99.9% of the energy what you are getting, you are going towards that. That is exactly what is in. When we mean Shreyas and all, so going towards that, getting aware of that, that innate energy that is going through us, which is taking us,
Excuse
which
me,
is talking to us, which is also
Ramchandran.
guiding us, you are able
Ramchandran.
to concentrate on that instead of being taken in,
Ram,
Majjanti, into the noises of the senses.
Ramchandran,
You,
1 second.
huh?
Krishnan is saying that he is not getting the link.
Link?
Krishnan.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. I will send it to you.
Right.
He must be having. Just a minute, I will send it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not getting connected. Okay. I sent him the link. I think maybe he's having some glitch, I think. So therefore, this is what, it makes us just, to be in the silent music that's being played all around us. But it is always, we are all being drowned into the noises of what is happening around us. So we are not able to get a focus onto that. This is basically what is being taken into, the first 6 mantras, which is pointing out towards that only. And when we say, the prayers and shreyas, because we are trying to convert prayers into shreyas in the sense, more you get, to know, when you renounce, the effect of, whatever the interaction, what you comes. Because once you get familiarized, because taking, some exotic dish, maybe first time it may be sort of a very, very exciting. Now, after some period of time, you might have taken dozen times. It is just, because like, I have taken this dish, that's all, but it's not, you will not be longing for it. When it is available, you will be enjoying it. But you will, once you start going after that, that is where it will take. Because in those days in Bangalore, I know, because they know in this restaurant is good, even if it is 20 kilometers away, they used to drive down and go and take. Even the middle class people, they had the habit and all, because that is what, you thought, you were going to get it. And I finally, it's not going to make any difference as it is. But you developed a taste for that, you've taken that and all. See, that is how, because whereas, your senses as such, they don't have any discrimination. The discrimination is developed by what is activating the senses. Who is activating the senses? Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha, because the mind that makes it, because all those things it activates, it gets, because it's being activated by someone. Who is that someone? Once you know that someone, is that God. In fact, incidentally, Kathopanishad says, then if you know who is that God, you try to know that. And how do you know that? You will not be able to know that. Avijnatam, vijanatam, Vigyatam, avijanatam. In the sense, once you think, you know about the God, you don't know. But once you think you don't know about the God, you know it. In the sense, it's so vast, you understand it's a vastness. But, so in view of the vastness, you are not known. You have known a bit of it. You're just a lightning, because a momentum must have come in your life. You must have realized there is a God who has helped me. Because when a very, very sort of an impossible situation is there, when you have been taken out, when you have been helped by someone, there could be so many people through whom he can help. There could be instruments who would have helped. It could be a person, or it could be a place, or it could be an occasion. Everything would have happened, but you would have got through into the impossible situation. When you were in the crossroad, you would have come out very clearly onto that. That is, where you get the best of it, the grace of the God that comes. But when the game, but you will not be able to know everything and all. So what the Upanishad says is, whatever be your capacity, whatever you will be effort, whatever you could know, that is good enough. You don't have to see, I will have to be someone like that. Don't go by that. Whatever by your effort, what you get, when you get it, because the peacefulness, the clarity of the mind, avyukt, what they say, because Krishna is called by the name avyukt in the sense, your clarity of the mind, no sort of, you don't have any agitation at all. Very clear thought, you will be able to proceed. Crystal clear thought. That is avyukt. So with that, when you are able to get through, that is the best way, because one can go through life. So shreyas and prayers when it comes, because it's also, when it is being said, one of the things, because we have got a stream called tantric stream. Tantric also is a particular way of attaining the God. It is more prevalent in Eastern India and all. They also have got concept, and they have also sort of, the written the Bhashyas and the Upanishad and scriptures from the tantric point of view. What they say, shreyas is, because every experience first has come praise, because you learn experience. But once you know, because these are all these, because, you become, some sort of a nonchalant, you are used to and all, then it becomes slowly, you are not longing for those things, it becomes slowly praise. So it is like bringing both your palms together. So one of the reasons why we have got, the wishing anyone, we don't shake hands, we say namaste. The very purpose we are doing is, when we do namaste, the shreyas and praise when it comes together, let me not be transactional. Let me have word to word. Let me be true to whatever I am saying to you, and you be true to whatever you are saying to me. When you see namaste it is an open interaction. It's an open interaction without any sort of agenda in the mind. Without agenda, when you are interacting, it's a namaste is the first part of it. And when we say avidya, kama, karma, because we have got 5 fingers, avidya, kama, karma, and then it is jivatma and it's paramatma. I mean, jivatma and paramatma, when avidya, kama, karma, and jivatma and paramatma is there, when you say this mudra, chin mudra, what we call the snuff mudra, whenever in those days, people used to take snuff, they used to take it like this, snuff mudra, chin mudra, when you do it, when Jivatma comes closer to Paramatma, that you are able to get to the intuition, when you are able to get the sound, the right advice at the right point of time, you are at the right place at the right time. That's how life takes you to the different levels of your evolution. Whatever happened to us, all of us have had the placement at the right place, right time. Otherwise, we would not have been wherever we are now. In fact, today, when we are meeting here and when we are discussing here also, by the time we are coming to here, it is again God's grace. See, you always because you want to reach the station, 2 hours is enough. But nowadays, even 2 hours may not be, too long a time, because you will get into a traffic, you may miss the train also. Every city it is happening and all. So you try to, because at that point of time, your intuition says, on that particular day, you start half an hour early. You there and then you thank God, I just started half an hour early and it's a small instance. It is again the intuition. It is not that, you normally, why do you bother? We used to say in those days, you got enough time and all. There is no time enough, because of so many things that is happening around us. Like everything is a grace of God. But we are not able to realize. It's a grace of God in the sense, you be aware. You be aware of it. When you focus on, automatically the intuition comes. But, when you have to go to the station, then only you remember, because, I have to send this to the bank. You go on doing something and you fritter away the time, you lose the time even going to the station. So mindfulness is the most important. Mindfulness with the full awareness of what you are doing, with the focus, that is what it is. That is what it brings about. The prayers and shreyas is like both hands that has to come together, so that the avidya, kama, karma, when you are having chin mudra on one hand, when both hands are having, when you are wishing someone, it is that, let us have that level of interaction. It's not that, because we have something in mind and we are going to transact with him, something like that. But shake hands is, I think, pull the legs only. So pulling the legs, you are going to pull the hands first. So that's what it happens. So this is absolutely, because why we had, without touching, what happens is, when you are having aura around you, Ashtadistya Dasangulam, when you are having the aura vibration with you, when you say this, the vibration, positive vibration goes to the other person. Even if he has come with some bad intention, it will slowly be, because he will try to correct himself. It is that, what am I doing? Because that will come to him, some spark will come to him. This is exactly, they said, because when it comes slowly, because prayers can get converted into shreyas and all. So we don't have to be unduly worried as far as your mindfulness, and when you are able to do it, when you are making yourself the intuition to allow intuition to come to you, then you will get the right perspective. Very often the intuition comes by the grace of the God. The grace of the God is by our constant effort of Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana. So this Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana, when we say, what is Shravana? Shravana is, because getting the text. Shravana is also means, that is, whatever the great gurus can tell us. Because of that only we have been warned, because the last mantra, Avidyam antare vartamanaha swayam dhira pandita manyamanaha. People will talk. People will talk all sorts of things, because as Bhagavad Gita says, Yamimam pushpitam vacham, flowery language. He will think, Pravadanti avipekshitaha. Avipekshitaha is because he can't see, because the one who has not having the vision, he can't teach you. Vision in the sense, because the Jnana Drishti, one, he can't teach you. Jnana Drishti is the one who has gone beyond of the personal comforts, the transactional advantage by dealing with someone, he is that one. So Pandita Manyamanaha, then it also applies Dandramyamanaha, because he will take you to all crooked ways of his own advantage. Be careful, it wants. Upanishad doesn't ask you to take, everyone, whoever is talking high things, he has to be taken into. You have to exercise your right. In fact, Upanishad says to how to select a guru. Getting a guru itself is a great task. And you need the grace, and not only that, you will have to find your own Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana in identifying the right guru. Lot of time, You have been misguided by, because the guru or the guru who is not so well versed, he says what Chinmayananda used to call misapprehension. You will not be able to get the right meaning or right sort of a knowledge from that person. So you will always be having a wrong knowledge. It will take you to the wrong path, in the sense, because once you have, everything to the simplest way possible, to the simplest, you make everything simple, the go to the person where you find intuition tells truly he is the guru to you. So once you say, he's the person, who is doing that, there are so many people, because there are so many things coming in the YouTube also, you may be seeing. But whereas some people, when they talk, it just gets into your heart. Why? Because they are talking from their intuition. It comes out like our rishis. What they were telling was intuition, not that what the mind has processed, not their product of their intellect. The product of the intellect can never be giving you the mystic experience. Whereas something you hear from someone in somewhere, 1 hour lecture, one word just strikes you, and that is in your mind. Because that is where what happens. This all happened to us, all of us, it has happened to us. So that is what, the Dandramya Manyamanaha Pariyanti Mudaha. Because like Andena Eva Niyamana Yada Andaha, because a blind man leading blind man, because that's what it wants. Therefore, what we are going to do next is, because we are going to towards that guru part of it. Who is the guru? How we can treat sort of, the help us. What is the quality of the guru? Next portion of the second Valli is concentrating on the guru, preceptor, the disciple. What type of preceptor is required, and what type of a disciple has to be there to be eligible to get that preceptor. This is what it is telling. So therefore, because why it is written, why we have to go to that? Otherwise, the previous mantra had said, "Na samparaya pratipati balam." Because even after that, so many things. If we are able to repeatedly getting into, drawn into the. Good morning, Krishnan. Hope you had no problem connecting.
Got it. Thank you.
Pratipati, when we said Pratipati Balam, because we are still like a child, in the sense we have not evolved at all. When Upanishad says, when you find, because you have evolved, Prabhadyantam Vittamohine Madam. How do you know you are not evolved? Pramadyantam Vittamohine Madam. Pramadyantam is inadvertence and total, because drawn towards always the things that is pleasurable. One of the things, when you are able to, when you are not able to apply your mind, first you will have to apply your mind. After that, you will have to, once the mind tells and you get the intellect, because once you find the discriminative power, you will have to apply the intellect. Then logically, you will be able to whether I am doing right or wrong. Even the logic will not take you to right time, because very often when you have done everything, something fails. When the reason fails, faith begins. When they say, I did everything, it has not happened, and immediately you go to someone, they will say, you go to this Swamiji, he will do, or you go to this astrologer, he has done so many things. Because that is an easier course for us. Because we are not accepting what has happened, and we are not trying to find a solution ourselves, what God has given to us. The God is talking to us every moment through our intuition. We want an easy way out. We want to give our key to someone else. Whereas you've got the key to your own treasure, will you be giving the key of your sort of, the bank locker to someone else? It is like that. When you are going to someone, who will help you sorting out the issue, is like giving your bank locker to someone else. Whereas the locker, the key is with you, and you will have to open the locker, you can find a solution for that. For that, when you pramadyantam vittamohine modam, once you understand, because you have got that, the understanding the mistake is the greatest gift God given. That is the grace of the God. Once you know it is a mistake, you will correct it. Once you know it is a wrong knowledge, you will correct it. It is wrong path, you will correct it. But knowing, if you are indulging, that is repeatedly, you do that. The pramadyantam has another more meaning in the pramadam, because there is a pramodam, in the sense you are repeatedly doing the same mistake. No one can help it. In the shop floor, if a person is not doing right in the newcomer, you can help him once, or even a bank. The person who has joined new, he may not be doing it. Once you tell him, and he should be able to do it. Maybe a couple of times, he may be sort of out of place, and then third time he will do it properly. But if he goes on repeatedly telling he is fit and he is unfit, He's not, because if he is not able to do it, what else, he can't do it for himself. Basically, you are doing it for himself. You are not going to do it for anyone else. And what is the great purpose of, by changing myself and taking everything and becoming precious, what you are going to, elevate and evolve. Whereas Ramana Maharishi goes to one step ahead and says that is your biggest contribution to the world. So once you evolve, and you, because of your vibes and all, because so many other people will get induced. The whole world, because slowly it is getting evolved, whole world will be a better place. Because he says it, that is the biggest contribution. You don't have to do anything else. You change yourself, you evolve yourself. That is the greatest thing, that can happen to that. So Pramadyantam, because then whenever, person says there is nothing other than this world, you go about the world, whatever it gives, you go through that. You sort of get the experience, go off, because that is a sort of like coming and living and going out, without any problem. We have not come here. The very purpose we have come here right from the womb is to find ourselves internally, why we have come, who we are. We understand who we are. That is how Vivekananda, the greatest speeches he has given after his address in Chicago, the first word is, if only know who you are. You are not an ordinary mortal with this body. You are not this body. You are beyond this body. And beyond this body, you've got so much to get and so much to evolve. And because of you, the whole world is going to be a better place. That is your contribution. So that is how, you have to do. This is how, it has been. Right? But when one is not able to get through, and once he is still being indulging into this world, as Yama was telling, punaha vashayam padyati apadyate, because we will have the cycle of birth and death. It's not that, because birth and death, has to stop to be liberation. You may be, because otherwise, birth and death stops, a lot of Mahan would have not come. We would not have got the Acharyas. They have all come, they have been sent, because finally, something is happening in the world. So there is a better, the betterment of the world only, they have all come. So you may come as someone like that. Once you evolve, next time, when the birth takes place, you will be a different person altogether. The man, who is, the mediocre, the next time, when he comes, he will be a highly evolved person. He will be something, worth about. Mananiyaha, what they say in Sanskrit, one who can be revered. The reverence, the one who gets that, it is like that, and it will be happening. That is the process of the world. Because either, because one of the proverbs in Indian, the English is be first or be with first. The sense in the class, because like we can't say, my son is first. Everyone is telling my son has come first, and maybe true or maybe not be true. The simple thing is, if you want to be first, be first. If you couldn't be first, be with first. In the sense, who is first, be around him. So if you are not able to evolve, if you are in the process of evolution, go to the person who is already evolved, who is going to give that. So this is where, with this introduction, with this sort of all preamble, the entire Upanishad takes us to who is going to be a guru. It is in your page number 1.2.7 is the mantra we are going to see, the guru and disciple relationship. You might be seeing in the page 43 of the document I have sent. Shravanayapi bahubiryo na labhyaha. The first word says Shravanayapi bahubiryo na labhyaha. In the sense, you will not be able to, the one who is willing to listen to the scriptural knowledge, or forget about scriptural knowledge, any good knowledge, any knowledge is good. Anything is going to be elevate the human being, in his interaction in the world. To behave as an evolved human being, that itself is a great knowledge. Incidentally, our scriptures abound with all these great knowledge which is not available elsewhere in the world. That's why we concentrate on the scriptures, because you've got a ready one. In no other place it is available. You've got readily available. Shravanayapi bahubiryo na labhyaha. Because for even just to hearing it, you may find, a lot of people taking any interest. Because sometimes, you may be going to someone is having a pravachana, or someone is talking on a great subject. Either to find, because you have been you want a change from the house, you might have gone there, or you might have accompanied someone. Sometimes, even if you are interested in it, it may be taking place some 45 miles away, and some other resort. You'll have to take effort and all. Who will take the effort and go on? If you really have interest, you will have to take the effort. So that interest comes only by God's grace. We will not go by someone else. So I am just narrating one small incident, because it has been told by the person himself. There is an ashram called Sandipani, near Powai, IIT Powai. It's a Chinmaya's, that is a spiritual sort of ashram where people are being trained. Sandipani. Sandipani is a great name because Krishna had his all his knowledge in ashram in Sandipani from his guru. Guru was Sandipani. So that is where I got it. The Sandipani is the one. And presently, one gentleman is heading the Sandipani. And he is basically an engineer by profession, long in his younger days. He is from Coimbatore and all. And he had got some job in Bangalore, and he had come. So when he has come to Bangalore, his brother was also an engineer. He was working somewhere, and he was trying to get a job, and he got a one. So when he was going to on Saturday, Sunday, someone came and told him, look, there is some lecture is there, I'm going. Lecture chodo, because Sunday, I want to have a good meal and have a good sleep. This is the only day available. That is what this person was telling me. Afterwards, out of curiosity, let us see, kya tamasha, what they are going to tell. Let me say, instead of being, wailing away in the house, let me go with him. That's how we went. When he went and, first day he went and incidentally he happened to be hearing Chinmayananda. Chinmayananda was a very, very direct speaker. He doesn't mince words. He tells everything directly because he got it directly. He had his thing, his sort of whatever, the knowledge he could get was a direct knowledge by directly being put through the entire process. He has been burnished in the fire. So he used to say the same thing, and he gave something like that and all. You see, if you don't have any interest, not necessary to come, but once you come here and still you are not able to pick up the interest, that is worse than that. What he said. Finally, the gentleman slowly, what is that he is saying? He took some more interest and he went into that and all. He's already become a monk of repute, and he's the one who is heading the Sandipani. That Sunday afternoon was the grace of God. A man who was not interested like anyone else, like any of us, wanted to spend a convenient time on the weekend. He had to perforce, with the persuasion of a friend, had to go and transformed into him. So he's like Chinmayananda. Chinmayananda, we know, he was ascetic, wanted to expose all the gurus, and finally he became one. This is where, even after getting into that, he was put into this, Swami Sivananda put in, okay, he wanted to learn Upanishad and all from a person who is in those ambience. So he was sent to a place called Tapovan. Tapovan is somewhere near Gangotri. You have to go still far. It's not, the plains, you can have all the comforts and all there. That Tapovanji Maharaj was the guru, because Sivananda gave Diksha to Chinmayananda, but finally he learnt it from Tapovanji Maharaj. If you see all his lectures, Tapovanji Maharaj will be there. Tapovanji Maharaj used to come for 3 months, because when the winter is off, he used to come and give, the students, he used to teach them, and he used to choose the students, and he used to be very strict about it. Because when the guru comes, I just wanted to bring in this experience. So he used to go back onto that. Afterwards, he is not available. He is only available for 3 months, and that too, because the certain period of time when he wants to teach, he will teach, and otherwise he will go. He's a very highly learned and realized, enlightened spiritual master. So one day he was talking about all consciousness, Brahman, and intuition, and all those things, and Sivananda got, why are you telling repeatedly and all these Upanishad? Every day you are repeating the same thing and all. You say consciousness, now the whole job is over. Why are you telling me like that and all? Why we have to hear consciousness is everywhere and we are also there and all. And he said he kept quiet. He didn't say anything. The next day, when he came for the lecture, as he was talking about particular subject. Suddenly he called Chinmayananda and asked him to fetch some water. The Ganges was running by the side. It's just after the Gangotri, just about the crystal clear water, and you'll have to go down, walk almost half a kilometer and fetch the water and come. So bring some water, and he said. So when he had to go and bring the water, he didn't know. He took the help of one of his colleagues. He took he had that lota was there, big lota, and he took and brought water from there and gave it to Guru. You are asking why consciousness, why under what you have brought. If consciousness is water, how do you know it is water? Only when you hold it in a vessel. So when you say the Paramatma, Brahman, it's all say there everywhere and all. Finally, the body is a vessel. He is there. That's why you have to know. To know, you will have to work on it because the body will take you everywhere and all. You will not be able to know. And you will also see in this Upanishad, in the second Valli itself, the concept of Brahman, what is the concept of Brahman and all, it will come. That means you have to know that. So then, when he said, he got, he told it, why did you bring it in water? I wanted to bring you in water only. Why did you bring it in a vessel, he asked him. Because without vessel, I can't bring the water. Likewise, you are a container. You have been brought here, because all your prarabdha karmas are there and you have come here to exhaust. And you have been given the Brahman, you will have to realize through those only. Well, how will you else? Because the Brahman is there everywhere. You will not be able to realize anything and all. That is how, he brought the entire concept of Brahman into that consciousness into them. He got it and all. And again, because there is no question is a bad question. Yeah, septic, we may think, why Chinmaya was right to have asked the question. It was a God's grace, so he got the clarification. Because of him, lot of us are getting the clarification. The Upanishad is always Prashnotter. Because the next Upanishad possibly we will be taking is Prashna Upanishad, they call it. It is Sat Prashna Upanishad. Sat Prashna Upanishad 6 elaborate and the highly evaluated question that's being asked by 6 sages to the Guru, and what is the answer he is giving. That is the Satprashna Upanishad. That we will see later, because all the Upanishad is based on Prashnotter, what they call. Ukta Avyukta. We have seen Ukta Avyukta Stotram by Vadiraja long before in Keno Upanishad. It is like that. So when it happens, why? Because through that only you will be able to understand it. You should be able to ask all the questions, which is, you are able to get through your own, because Shravana, Manana, and you should be able to ask, you should be honest enough to ask the question. Then only the Guru will be able to. Guru knows, how far you have just reflected upon yourself before asking the question. He will be able to gauge. He will not be taken in by, it's not like asking all unwanted question everywhere in the parliament and everyday discussions in the TV. It is something of a most considered by your own. It comes out of your being. Comes out of your being is something that you are a bundle of energy. From there it comes as an intuition. Your intuition provokes that question and it gets the clarification to you. The Guru is someone who should be able to give. But are you having the sort of occasion to hear? Are you having the patience to hear? Rare is a person who is willing to hear. Rarer is one who is able to get through to your Guru and consistently able to get that knowledge. Still rarer one is able to get and master like Nachiketa, come out with colors, Prajanan as he called. This is exactly the sound, not Shravanen. This is exactly this mantra says. Find this. Shravanopi bahubir na bahubiryo na labhyaha Shravantopi bahavo yam na vidyuhu. If they manage to do it, even if you hear it, you may be hearing so many things, but how many things have gone into our mind? You might have had a wonderful lecture. You might have liked it. Every aspect of our scriptures, every aspect of your being has been, the exposition has been given. How much has stayed with you? How much has been ingrained into you? So this is the beautiful thing, because in Hindi said, Jal se patla kya hai? Jal se patla jnana hai. It is just like water, it goes off, it flows. You heard, it came through this year and it came through that year. By chance, if you are able to remember a couple of words or a couple of concepts, it may be very great. But you will be hearing you will be holding the stories. The stories are very interesting. Every talker, he gives a story. The story is people will take, what is this? What happens? You see from your experience, does it happen like that? Does it happen? It gives the curiosity and interest. But the lesson from that story is forgotten. So therefore, because because Ramakrishna Paramahamsa made it a point to tell everything Kathoamritam, because Paramahamsa Kathoamritam, when it is there, he gave stories. But stories, how he was giving? Once a person asked him, because a Westerner came and talked to him, and by translation and all, when he gave him a story, and whereas a man from a village came, he gave him a story to make him understand. By stories only, because that provokes the interest of a person to listen. Otherwise, if you are telling it's a Upanishad, it is talking about Brahman, it is shares and prayers, and it is something, out of syllabus for us. Let's not bother about it. We have got so many other things to do. That's how, because basically that is how the stories of Mahabharata is in every parva, a lot of stories have been, these little happenings, real happenings. So many things, whatever possible combination permutations are there, they have all happened. So that gives a Shravantopi Bhavoyam, because even if you listen to that, how much stayed with you is a problem. That is really again God's grace. And you have to take interest. After taking interest, try to understand. And you will have hundreds of doubts. You should be open enough to ask. Even if it is a silly question, you should be able to ask. But the ego comes in, because only when you throw the ego out, you will be able to evolve. I am someone, what is that if I ask a silly question? Because I don't understand. That is of my level. See, everywhere I will have to ask, because especially Upanishad and all, by just reading it, you will not be able to make it. Unless, you are being taught, or unless you have got a source by which, you are getting taught by that, because you will not have anything else. Because you will have, that is why Guru is very important in Sanatana Dharma. Because Guru is the one who will give the right perspective, right knowledge, and right attitude. See, knowledge enough is not enough. Jnana without bhakti is useless. The bhakti is surrender. The surrender comes, only when you know from the real Guru what is it. When you are minuscule and you are nothing but, you have got the container of this body in which, you have been sent in this world to him. Then only you understand, because that how many times you will be aware of it. But otherwise, immediately after half an hour when I go out, I will go with my best of shirts and pants. Just I want to be looked, very smart, to other people. That's how I go. When I go that, even if some person is telling something right thing, because it will not be, I will go by that status of this person. Is he worth enough to listen to him? Is he of my cadre, caliber, something like that, because you think, you are nobody. That's what we forget. We are nobody in this world. We have been sent here to get ourselves to make something, out of what we can get by our internal journey. Once you have that humility, Vidya Vinaya Sampanna, when it is there, the humility is there. Once you understand, you've got to evolve. And you evolve in the sense, you've got to be, because as mindful as possible. And you will have to be having, everything in the right perspective. You should not mistake it. Even if you find some doubt, you should be able to clarify it. Then it happens. That is the Guru. And the Guru is also one, who will not be in the exalted height, sitting in and telling, look, I am the Guru, I am telling, you'll have to follow. These are all my commandments. He is also not Guru. You should be able to understand your weakness. He should be able to spoon feed you, because you should know your capacity. A person who has done a PhD, you can tell him in few words. A person who has just done from the class 12, you'll have to tell him in his language. That is an art. That Ramakrishna Paramahamsa excelled. That's why when someone asked him, even you are a child, you are explaining, and you are a villager, you are explaining, a Westerner, you are explaining, even the great politicians and the great leaders come there also they are explaining the story. He said, those days gramophone records used to be there. I just play the appropriate record for everyone. Nothing. It's all comes to me at that point of time. I tell, because in the language in which I think they can understand. Incidentally, by God's grace, they are understanding it. So once you have that ability, that is the shreyas. You should be able to talk to the child the way it is. The child have got all the innocence and mischievousness. The mischievousness is most likable quality. The innocence and wondering quality. Because every new thing they wonder. For you, everything you get, because mobile phone you are not enamored. And another new version with the 2 lakh mobile phone is then it will have some attraction for a few days. But for us children, everything, even old mobile phone is attractive to them, because it is something it does and all. Likewise, the ability to wonder, the ability to be always in the zero level, the base level to learn, that gives you the full grasp of knowledge. When you think, when someone else is telling, this is to be done, and these things I already know, in the sense, you will not be able to gather anything. Also, you have to reset everything. You have to reset button always you press, so that you will be able to get everything. Because you go and see, someone telling something, and you say, that man was telling, that person was telling, that Mahan was telling like that. Whereas this Mahan, you try to compare and all. But what is that, you have to compare and get yourself. You will have to change, you will have to understand what you can pick up from there. You will have to see what the other person is telling. Because logic will help you to some extent. As long as, when you are able to get the thing. When the logic fails, reason fails, then, you will be totally, you will have to resort to something mystic power. That mystic power or the help from the God come only when you are able to get the right perspective. For that, the right guru is required. That is what they say. It is very rare to hear someone, who comes for such a things. And very rare guru, who can tell everything. Who is guru? Stotriyam Brahmanishtam. Mundaka Upanishad. We will be going after Satprashna Upanishad. It is called Atharva Upanishad also. Stotriyam Brahmanishtam. Not only one who talks those things, who lives those things. Who has absorbed, who has ingrained, who has been, because whatever he is talking is also living. சொல்லுவது எல்லோருக்கும் சுலபமாகும் சொன்னபடி நடப்பவர்கள் மிகவும் சொற்பம். Once you have it, that is highest. What you are talking, what you are meaning, if you are able to stand by that every moment in the presence, that is the highest quality. That means you have got, you are fully entitled to get every possible intuition and the grace at every point of time. This is exactly what they are taking. But we may be thinking we are doing like that, we are like that, but we are not. That is what praise, that masquerades, to make us feel that we have already evolved. We are not. This is what the Upanishad brings you. Friend, I think try to correct yourself. There are a lot of ways to do. Why you have to need a guru, and who is that guru? How he has to be? Ascharyo vakta kushlosya labdaha. Because, the next sentence, the one, who is so great, even the disciple should be happy to be in his presence. Who is, because he should be full of karuna, because he should not be always scolding you and telling you, I think you are a dud, and you dud, dull dunce, and nothing will get into your brain and all, something like not like that. He's the one who takes interest in you. He knows your level of absorption, your level of knowledge. Try to come down, help. But Upanishad says, you do that everyone can see. But how we have to adopt in our way of life. If one person has tried and tried to find, or if he gives the suggested ways, and if you find it attractive, that is what is required. It's not to say, because in Olympian heights you can sit and Shankaracharya said, Madhvacharya said like that, Rama, they all said that. They all said that so that, you try to evolve yourself, to try to practice, you try to change yourself. If you don't change, but you go on talking about that, it is Tandramyamanaha, what we say. Pandita Manyamanaha, what they said. Ascharyo Jnata Kusala Asishtaha. And the disciple also. Samit Panihi Stotriyam Brahmanishtam. Because when you go to a guru in those days, Samit is the one, which you put in the Agni. Samit Panihi is the tweets. It's not the wood and all, as in tweets. The tweets in the small, that Samit you would have seen. It is far as it comes on its own, you don't have to break it also. Some of them, small ones, you've got different sizes for different again. You carry that Samit. When you are carrying a Samit in those days, the signia is you come for getting the knowledge. You submit those Samits, with a reverence to Guru, That means, you are going to be part of him, you are going to serve him, you are going to abide by his advice, and you will be doing all services to him and get the knowledge. And he also thinks, because he also looking for the person to whom he can give it, because it's all Shruti based. It's not the textbook, it has been published by so and so and go and get it. Not only, but only Shruti. You have to get the Shruti correctly, the intonation correctly, the pronunciation correctly, the verbatim, you will have to get that. And afterwards, when you are doing, because the feeling what you are having by pronouncing, the vibration that comes into your mind, when you get to the inescapable, the bliss that comes, into your mind. And when you are able to get the grasp, it is not the grasp of a mind and intellect, it is the grasp of a being. The teleportation, whatever be the complex, we talked about the Zillinger, who has got the Nobel Prize for this time. When a complex system, you may not be knowing how complex the system, but the teleporter, you get it without missing anything. Like Nachiketa got everything. When he got Tushta, because Yama was so happy with him, he called him Prajanan, he gave him Shrinka, he gave a gold chain. So that is how a person can get, because Yama couldn't get anyone who can get the knowledge so fast, and he didn't have any occasion to someone who is interested in the knowledge. These are all, Yama is nothing but they're representing the entire human being, and you be like an Achiketa. You try to take the interest. You try to do that and all. Every time, you, even if you know something, you just go to the base level, reset and try to understand what a person is telling about. Once you have a faith, trust in that Guru, and you get the intuition, right intuition, he is the one who is going to be giving us the knowledge. Let us go to him, and then you will have to do it. And he's the one, Samit Panihi, Stotriyam Brahmanishtam. To get someone is rarest of rare. That is exactly, this mantra says. We'll get little more elaboration on this mantra, and after this mantra, there is a greatest elaboration by all the three acharyas on that. That will go for this particular week, because we will stop at that, because this is one of the most important mantras. We have got 6 more mantras to come for the guru and disciple relationship. After guru and disciple relationship is established, after you are totally prepared with the first 6 mantras, what is that experience you are looking for in this world, the purpose of this world? So we are called the purposive animals. Animals have a purpose only to a limited extent, just to quench its thirst and quench its appetite. Whereas human beings, we have got thirst for so many other things, which is not even required for us. That is why we are called purposive animals. When we don't have that purpose, the highest purpose that comes to take you into the internal journey. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna ho, yatra pato dhanurdharaha, tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruvanitir Matinmama, in the sense, where the highest, the Arjuna is there, where the highest Krishna is there, in the sense, where you got highly evolved mind is there, that is Arjuna. The intellect, when you are able to get the intuition from whom? Krishna. When you are getting, that Krishna, the intuition, and when you are getting the prepared yourself, when you are dharmasya glanibhavati bharata, because when he comes, it is like that. So when you think, when you get that, the journey what you are taking is the highest journey, not the destination. Destination is long way to go. It is always endless. It's like a horizon. You go there, because it goes further. So you will not be able to reach it. But once you go there, you will be enjoying the path, limited to your capacity, whatever your capability, whatever has been assigned to you, getting the grace of the God. With this, we will see how great importance is given to learning from Guru, and what type of a Guru and disciple. Just we have started with the dot on that. We have got long way to go in the next 6 mantras. Today we will be concluding. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi, Tejasvinavadidamastuma Vishvidavahaihi, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Friends, we will be having one meditation, and this week meditation is Anobhadra meditation. Anobhadra meditation, in the sense, Anobhadra is the let the knowledge, the wonderful knowledge come to me from Vishwa, everywhere from the world. Anobhadra Vishwa, because this is a sort of a buzzword for IIT Kanpur, I believe. Likewise, a lot of our knowledge also. Let knowledge come from every source. So this is the meditation. Anubhadra is a word which is very, very sanctified in Sanskrit. When you say Badrinath, that is the highest place, where you get the highest knowledge. When Prahlada was supposed to have been there, so many other things are there. That is why Badri. When we say Badrinath, is Badra is something like that. Badram Shunuvem, when we say all those Shanti mantras, Badra, let me hear whatever the most auspicious. Let me see the most auspicious. In the sense, most wonderful. Whatever is, this body is capable of listening to it, seeing it. That is what it is. So we'll just go to the meditation immediately and take a minute to